Hi, everybody. I'm Myranda Love, CEO and founder of Ninja Growth Strategies. And I have with me today's guest on today's Expert Spotlight on the business coaches and executive coaches on LinkedIn, Dr. Yolanda Spiva. Welcome, Yolanda.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. It's my honor. So if you could just briefly start off by telling us a little bit about, who you are and the clients that you serve and your coaching business.
Sure. Hi. Again, my name is Yolanda, and I serve nonprofit executives. And so typically it's the CEO, but it could also be those in the C-suite who are looking to potentially become a CEO, and helping them to realize the outcomes of the organization, but realizing their own impact on the organization's outcomes. And so typically for nonprofits, the main outcome is fundraising. And I think people look at fundraising as a task that's hard to do, and they have to really slog through. And what I help them connect is the things about themselves that help them be successful as fundraisers and will help the organization be successful.
Wonderful. Yeah, that is definitely a skill and something in every business. Fundraising is very important, but for nonprofits, for sure. So, how long have you been, your background in nonprofits and specifically, doing the work that you've been doing?
Sure. So I've had an executive coaching business for about 17 years. However, part of my company, we also do Leaders on Loan. And so I've also served as an executive director and a CEO of several nonprofits in the past, let's say since 2006. And so I've had on-the-ground experience as well as coaching and consulting experience in the past. A lot of my coaching was around executive coaching, but also strategic consulting solutions is what we call our business. And it's also what we do. So we really help around strategic planning, around fundraising, as I mentioned, and fundraising strategy, but also around board strategy and board development and creating solutions for boards. So we have a pretty broad practice, but I've really been, since I became board certified as a coach several years back, I've really tried to be more clear in terms of the practice has a broad scope, but in terms of the work that I do is really around executive coaching.
Okay, great. Thank you for that background. So how were you getting clients before? And I believe you had actually moved locations as well. So if you could kind of just let me know a little bit about how you were getting clients and what strategies were working for you then.
Well, a lot of my clients were from, I belong to a lot of nonprofit associations or even just general associations or organizations. And so I would tap into my network, and folks knew that I actually had the experience. They knew I had raised over $100 million with one organization. And so I guess from that, I was really tapping into my contacts. But what I was really doing was having lots of meetings and coffees and lunches, and it was really taking away time that I could actually be working with clients. And so I would probably say about 50% of my time was spent on trying to quote unquote drum up business, as opposed to really being able to spend time with clients and actively also earn revenue for the company. And so I just kind of felt like I needed a new way, and I was not a person that was on social media at all. I didn't have that I didn't have time really, just based on my work, but I didn't have an insight into how powerful social media could be for actually growing my business. And so that's really what attracted me. I think I watched your initial video, and it was like an epiphany happened. I'm like, oh my God, this is what I need to be doing, because I was getting clients. I was having clients, face-to-face clients, but this, having more of a virtual outreach could also allow me to reach people all over the nation, regardless of where I lived.
Wonderful. And you're speaking kind of specifically about some of the strategies that we use there on LinkedIn. So how did you find out about me, and how did I reach you, and about kind of get involved in my marketing program that we have here at Ninja Growth Strategies?
I think I received a LinkedIn request, or it might have just been a post on LinkedIn. I was on LinkedIn and just looking at some information, and I just got an email from you. I watched an initial video, and literally so many of the things you talked about in that video just resonated with me. I mean, it was one of those things where I was literally thinking that day, I need to do something to grow my business and not have to spend so much time doing that, and need to have it sort of on autopilot. That was the word I used. And then in your webinar, you talked about automating your outreach. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so kismet, right? So I think it was just receiving that information and being willing to see how it could work for me. And then you and I scheduled a phone call. You had a booking a link to book with you, and I contacted you, and we had an initial conversation, which was it was an extension of what I got on the webinar. You were very excited to talk to me. I was excited to talk to you, and I just sort of shared what the pain points were, what the successful things I was already doing, but what I really wanted to grow in my business. And then we just talked about what I would do with the extra time and the extra money if this were to actually work out. And so all of that resonated with me, and it just seemed like it was time to step up. Well, one, my engagement online, especially via LinkedIn, but really making the tool, the social media platform work for me in my business, not just for, before I was accepting invitations very sparingly. I hadn't thought about, I wasn't caught up in trying to grow the number of connections that I had. That wasn't my focus. That just seemed like a very vain sort of thing that people did on Facebook or LinkedIn. But until we talked about, when I actually enrolled in the program, and we talked about, no, you need to have not just lots of connections, but connections that are actually in your wheelhouse, and that would be potential clients for you. That was when I realized the power of LinkedIn, and also the power of the program that you offer that really helps you hone in on the targeted client that you want.
Wonderful. Yeah. The way that that's exactly how it is that I found you, using my strategy, since I specifically help, business coaches get clients, and using the different techniques that we use on LinkedIn. So we reached out to you with our very specific targeting, and then brought you through our funnel, invited you to the video you were speaking about, is the web class that I have. That's at ninjagrowthstrategies.com. It's how to make your first 6 figures as a business coach this year online using LinkedIn.
Yes.
And so that is a very targeted and a targeted message. That was something that, a problem that you were interested in right at that time, and took you through that process. And then that process, it looked like something that would work for you and for getting clients for you. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
So how has that worked then? How's the process worked for you so far?
Well, it has worked very well for me. I will say now, I think for people who were like me, that I'm technology savvy, but I wasn't social media savvy. And so again, I think I had a little further to go in terms of, okay, I had to get my LinkedIn profile together. And you really helped me with that sort of piece. And so I took everything to heart in terms of, after I invested in the course, I was like, well, I really want to make sure I get the most out of it. So I watched every video, I followed what you said, and, really just tried to also increase my connections. I will say that, just like anything else, you get out of something what you put into it. And so there were some weeks where either I had a consulting job that I had to do, and so I wasn't able to do as much on the course, or if I had live clients that I had to work through some things, or just life. You try to go. You're going on vacation, because I started with you at the beginning of the summer, so you're going on vacation, or you have another thing to do. So sometimes I would say I put in 100%. Other times it was like maybe 20%, but I would still say that regardless of that. So everybody's going to progress along the course at different paces. I had some technology issues in terms of, the automation tools and all of that, but you've been very supportive throughout that entire process. And I think that ultimately we all get to where we need to be in this course at the time that's right. And I think that's how essentially I ended up landing my first client via LinkedIn. By just following the steps and being patient, because sometimes you get frustrated with yourself because you want to be further along. Others in the course are further ahead of you, and you may think, am I doing this right? But I think with the continued support and affirmation from you that, hey, this is your process, just keep working it, be patient, let me know if you have issues. There was always that sort of feedback and support that let me know I was still on the right path. And I just tried to be calm and patient and persist, despite, what may have been happening with my technology, or, just life in general intervening in the process. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. You do kind of have to keep going, pushing forward with it. And at least you did have, you had a system, and you had proof that you knew that it worked, because it worked for you, like
Yes.
that's how you became, part of my program and a client for me. We didn't know each other before. And
Right.
Before me reaching out to you using a targeted connection on LinkedIn and a very targeted message. So that is wonderful that I know you did that hashtag. It's Myranda's methods work. So I love that. I'm like, oh, I got to speak with Yolanda. So if you don't mind, just talk us through a little bit about that process, because we don't even have your webinar live yet, but we do help our clients get clients before we even get the webinar. So I'd love to hear.
No, that was the crazy part because, I was obsessed with trying to get the webinar up. And when the person called, and I should also say, I've had several folks book a call with me and some work out, some were just, people who want to kind of know, some wanted to answers to their questions. They want to get the answers in that first call and you're trying to get them, enroll them in your program, but it may or may not work out for whatever reason. And so I was able to get feedback from you on, what was I doing right? What was I doing wrong? But I would say that, so first of all, just growing my LinkedIn connections. When I initially entered, I may have had like 500 connections. And now I have close to 2,000. And that's just in a short amount of time. And again, that's not me pushing the button every day, right? That's just with whenever I get a chance to do it. So I know if I am persistent every single day, like we talked about in the program with working the program, then I could be even more successful. So that's one.
And those are targeted leads too, targeted
Yes.
connections that are in, in the nonprofit CEOs and in your exact industry. They're not just,
No.
people you went to school with or all those warm
Exactly.
leads that you had already kind of been tapping to. These are new people that would be interested.
Yes. And I would say of that initial set, the initial number I had, most of them were in that category. People I knew, people that knew me. It could have been a Lion, LinkedIn open networker, but it wasn't targeted like for the people that I wanted to really have in my program. So it's really increased the quality of my connections, not just the quantity. So that was the other good thing. And so we tested a number of different messages. You worked with me on, the targeted messaging that I would send out to clients. And we tested a variety of them. And so I was also looking at when someone would respond to me, which message got the response. And so that would give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on the message, right? And so I was noticing the ones where I talked about, what's keeping people up at night or what's giving them problems and really helping them to see their issue and that what I have to offer, what my company has to offer could be a part of their solution set. That's what really resonated with them. And that was a part of some of the course that we have been engaged in with you, where you talk about messaging a lot. And I do think that's not time that's wasted because it really does matter. And the same way I mentioned to you that when I watched your first webinar, the messaging really resonated with me as a person. It resonated with me as a coach. And it made me feel like, okay, here's somebody who knows what I need and can help me find a solution. So I think that was the biggest part in the beginning, was really honing in on the message. And as you always say, just testing different messages. And so even if it's not the most effective, just put it out there and let's see what the clients or prospective clients think about it. So there's some that I've put out there that I never got any response to. Others they resonate more. And so those are the ones that I've been consistently sending out and targeting LinkedIn outreach to those folks. And then after that, it was a matter of, a lot of this is, depending on where you are in your business. Again, remember, most of what I was doing was physical outreach. So connecting with people person to person. So I did not have a scheduling page. I did not have, my LinkedIn page was just like a photo, a heading, and maybe a couple of things about me. I didn't take the time to really think, oh, okay, this is almost like another website for me. And this LinkedIn page should be, people aren't necessarily going to your website. They're going to LinkedIn and they need to see everything there. So I spent a lot of time on the technical aspects, getting those up and running. But again, it wasn't time that was lost because every one of those people said, I read your profile and of course I had my scheduling link in there as well. So I really worked on, it was almost like I was creating my business from scratch because I had a business that I had, sorry about that. I had a business that I had, sorry about that.
No
I had
problem.
a business that I had in the past, but it was a person-to-person, face-to-face business. And now was an opportunity for me to create a virtual business, which I think that's the main thing that I would say that I didn't have the realization just how much effort it was going to take. So it really does take, before you commit to doing this, you have to understand that you have to be, Myranda is going to be there as a coach and to help you, just like all of us are coaches, but you get out of it what you put into it. And so it's been great to really explore this side of the business that was really an untapped market for me. And add this too. I mean, I'm still doing some face-to-face, but I'm trying to optimize and maximize what I can get on LinkedIn because I'm able to spend more time with family, able to spend more time with other clients because I have some of the things that I would have had to do the travel time to the meeting, the time at the meeting, travel time back. I lost time with family and clients because I was too busy trying to do the marketing. So this really did help me on that side as well.
Wonderful. Good. I am glad it's working for you. And it is something that once you get the pieces in place, I mean, it's an automated LinkedIn, booking funnel. And so you got to get those pieces set up. But once you get it done, you do that once. And once it's converting, we get it, make sure that it's converting for you. And it is. And then you don't mess it. You don't have to put those pieces in place. And I know like I think you do have some domains and maybe a website, but I remember at the beginning, you're like, okay, I got to get, my website and I need to get this hosted. I need to do this and this and this. And I'm like, okay, I know you're coming into this and you're new with social media and, all the tech and some things are here and there. I'm like, but that will wait. Let's get these pieces in and you can get the clients without even having the website,
and Myranda,
without even having that.
When you said that, it sounded crazy to me. It sounded so counterintuitive because, and I think in your webinar, you say the old way and the new way, and I'm definitely old school. So it was like, okay, but the old way is only yielding so much, right? How do I really optimize and maximize? And so you really have to fall into this new way. And so, like you said, I've finished my, the slides for my webinar, but I haven't even rolled it out yet. And I had booked a client. So, that's why I said Miranda's way works.
Awesome. Well, good. I do love that. And it is something that you don't have to have. And then once we do get the webinar up, the webinar is just helpful to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And it's good to have that one piece that really, and then we automate that as well. So again, everything that we do in this 8-week program that Yolanda's speaking about, that she's been going through with me here at Ninja Growth Strategies, is everything that we do, that we put in, we automate it. So you really just have to get those pieces created once and you push a button a couple of times a day and it's out there targeting and growing your network, typically by 1,500 or so every month, depending on how specific you are with it and getting the calls booked. And that is just kind of learning that process of being able to speak with somebody on the phone or even an online meeting and being able to, that you haven't ever met before, they're cold connections, and actually then having a process to enroll them into a program. And even your program, I know that at the beginning we worked on that, just kind of outlining. I know that you've been doing this work, but kind of more in physical and a lot of face-to-face and and working with them. And now you're working, you have your offer that you're working, and then we'll transition to doing that into a group program as well, right?
Yep.
So a lot of those pieces, like a lot of times people think, okay, I got to have an offer, I've got to have a website, I've got to have all these different, an ebook or a best-selling book or, coaching certifications or spend all this time on social media. And really, you don't. It's just being able to know clearly defining clearly who it is that you help, how you help them, and then having that cleverly crafted message and a way to find the people,
Yes.
and a system to put them through.
And I was going to say, we're in a new world. And of course, with progress comes responsibility that, we're trying to help people. We're trying to help as many people as we can. And what I really liked about your program also, it wasn't just about find a person, make money. It wasn't about that. It was about how can you help as many people as possible. And having been in the CEO role, I know firsthand what these nonprofit CEOs are going through. And so my bigger goal or passion is to help as many people, not have to have, we shouldn't have people making the same mistakes we made or taking, years to accomplish things that we now know can be done in less time. And so it's really about, I think, a calling or being able to be of service to others as well. And I think what I heard what I've experienced, but what I initially heard on your enrollment call was that it wasn't about just how to make money, although of course we all want to do that. We live in a society where we have to sustain ourselves, but it really was about how can we be of service to others. And so I think keeping that at the front of mind is also important. And that's what comes through as authentic when you're talking to people. You don't seem like a used car salesperson, right? And when you come across that way, that's when you don't enroll people. And so we talk a lot in the program about the ideal client. And so that's what we're seeking, not just getting anybody who will pay anything to do work with you, but also having standards and integrity. So I really have appreciated being not just in the program with you, but also the others who have been in the course who, because we have our weekly call, we get to interact not just with you, Myranda, but also with the others on the call and hearing their stories. And they all live in different places across the country, hearing their stories, hearing their experiences. And we're all kind of experiencing this together in real time, but also talking about our experiences in our respective locales. That helps a lot because because it really gives you the sense that you have a camaraderie across business coaches who are experiencing similar things, and we kind of work it out together. So it's not just the support from you, but it's also the camaraderie and the work with the other business coaches as well.
Wonderful. I know I love that, the kind of mastermind aspect of it. And I'm so
Mm-hmm.
fortunate that I get to work with, since I do work with business coaches, they're like you. I mean, experts, highly, experienced in your zone, in your arena. And most of my clients are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and even in their
Mm-hmm.
70s. And not that
Mm-hmm.
you have to have it, but a lot of them do have the PhDs like you have, or,
Yep.
MBAs and even different certifications and things like that. And even though you're brilliant at what it is that you do and with your clients, and maybe it's a lot of people like fundraising. I mean, you're great at helping your, nonprofits do that. But as far as actually getting clients for you, and
Mm-hmm.
as a business owner, it is something that it's good to be able to reach out and find people that we all have our areas of expertise and be able to help
Yes.
each other. So I think it's wonderful. So what was so far? What has been your favorite thing so far about either working in the program or working with me?
Well, first of all, your bright, bubbly personality. You are always upbeat. And I mean, you're very transparent too, that look, I mean, I have bad days too, but you're always there for all of us in the program. That's the first thing I would say as a compliment to you, which really comes from my heart. But also just the plethora of resources. I mean, there is no end in sight to, if you have a topic, it's like, okay, I can call you, but also you're going to have a video to support it. I mean, or something. So there's so many tools in the program. And again, it does require you to do some work. This is not Myranda does it for you. This is you taking control of your business in a new direction. And so I think just having access to those resources is also the other thing. And as I mentioned, those calls are really important, because sometimes even if you don't have anything you have a question about on the call, somebody else has a question, and it may make you remember like, oh gosh, yeah, I was having that challenge too. Or even if you can chime in and say, I had that challenge last week, but here's how I remedied it. So I think, I don't have any complaints, Myranda. Everything has been, I mean, you've been, even like I said, with my technical issues, you've been more than generous with your time and patience and, helping me work through some of that. So it's been a pleasure.
Well, wonderful. That was so good to hear. It is, and I would say the same thing about you as well. It has definitely been a pleasure, and that's why I love what it is that we do. And selfishly,
Yes.
the reason why I selfishly share my gifts, I've chosen to share my gifts with other business coaches as opposed to working as I have in the past, or usually, my own businesses, or working with other directly in the businesses and
Mm-hmm.
software companies and things like that, is because whenever I help you, let your gift shine, and then by you're going to be able to help a lot more people. So by me helping you, and then all the people that you're able to help, all those nonprofits, and
Yes.
it's just really that ripple effect that
Yes.
passes it all along. And because I feel like I'm able to impact a lot of different areas that the things that about, and all the nonprofit missions that they're all accomplishing, because of you getting to be in there and helping them, is things that I never would have even dreamed of. So I love it. It is
Yes.
wonderful, and I am so fortunate to get to love the work that I do and get to work with so many very talented experts and business coaches like yourself. So with that, if there's a new coach out there, or somebody that is already, that they're getting most of their business, like you, from as you were before, like face to face, but they're really ready to take their business online, or maybe even move to, as you're moving to the group program, so that way you'll have a program that is even more time efficient, like the way that
Mm-hmm.
we run ours. So would you recommend that they check out at least our web class, or that they book a call with us? Where would you recommend that they go?
I think they should start with the web class, because I mean, once if you're really wanting something different in your business, you're really wanting to expand your outreach. Once you see that webinar, it's going to resonate with you the same way it resonated with me, because it was authentic, because you have the proven methods. And now, of course, that I've actually experienced it, I'm also now a witness that can testify to its effectiveness. I would also say that then, book the call, because one of the things I got in that first call with you was, look, I want to know exactly what you're trying to accomplish. This was you asking me this. What are you trying to accomplish? And then we really worked through. And when I started the program, it was really based on what we talked about that first call. So again, it's a continuum. It's not, just separate things that we're doing. We're always moving toward the same target. And I know you have multiple clients that are in the group program, yet I always feel when I speak with you, like we're still talking about me. We're not talking about, it's not what am I trying to say? A generic thing. And even though you have tools that are, you've automated, there's still, I think, first of all, you update them regularly, but also, especially as we have new tools or new information, new technology that you bring to bear. But so I can't say whether it's book a call first. I think watch the web class first, because I think it'll just give you more insight and then help you when you book a call to know, to specify what the issues are you're trying to work through. But I would also just say that, you can't be all things to all people. I am an expert, as you said, in what I do, but I wouldn't try to, pull my own tooth. I would go to a dentist, right? So you have to solicit an expert, and you are a marketing expert. LinkedIn, you're a master LinkedIn guru, and that was a weak spot for me. And so when you have those weak spots, it is important to reach out to an expert and have them help you get to where you're trying to get to faster. So that would be my advice.
Well, wonderful. Thank you, Yolanda, for that. I agree. I think the web class is actually it's like 5 shortcuts to 6 figures this year as a business coach, because so many people have been struggling and trying to do. And so that's what it is that I talk about in the web class, like you were saying, the old way versus the new way, and why there's so many things that people are doing right now that they think that they need the book, or they think that they need, to have the website, or they think that they need, all these different things first, or going out and doing all those meetings that really you can just really, or that they need to wait around before asking somebody, letting people know how you can help them. And so those are some of the shifts or shortcuts that we cover in that web class. And then I think the way that you did it, actually, I think I had reached out to you on LinkedIn and invited you to a phone call, and then I invited you to the web class, and you get the replay with the book the call too. So you went through, kind of both of them, did the book the call, and then got to watch the web class. And usually by the time people do come and they're on the phone, they're like, yeah, I took screenshots, I took pages and pages of notes, which makes me feel good, because that's how I've done it too, and I actually just enrolled in a new marketing program myself, because I always wanting to improve and working out kinks and being the best that I can be, so that way I can continue to be the best for you, for my clients as well.
And I was going to say, I mean, the funny part, when you said people take screenshots and notes, I took lots of notes on that first web class. But the funny part is that you gave away a lot of just jewels in terms of this work. And even though I got a lot out of it, I took copious notes and I could apply that, I still felt like I need to go deeper, because if I got this much from this person on this webinar, imagine if I actually enrolled in the class, right? So that was the allure for me as well.
Oh, okay, good. That's one of the questions I skipped over, but it is what made you decide to really kind of go ahead and invest in the program?
I mean, it really, I guess, I know I've said this several times, but, I can sort of, spot a scam a mile away. I can, I can tell when something is inauthentic, and it just resonated with me. I don't really know how to explain it, but part of it was just that several things that I was grappling with in terms of strategy for my business. And I knew part of it was like, how do I do this online stuff? You know what I mean? I said it to myself, and then literally in the box that day comes this. And so I do think that some things are serendipity, and this was one of those things. And so, and like I said, just the number of aha moments I had just in the initial free web class that was online, I was having so many epiphanies, like, oh gosh, yeah, or that sounds like me, or maybe I should do that. I mean, so because it resonated and connected with me just in that space, I knew enrolling in the program was going to give me so much more, and it has.
Wonderful. Good. I'm so glad to hear that. And hashtag Miranda's methods work. I will let our listeners know that that web class that you're speaking about, it is available right now still for free, and it is at ninjagrowthstrategies.com. And once again, that is ninjagrowthstrategies.com. And as Yolanda said, she would recommend go ahead and booking that phone call as well, because our spots on our calendar are actually very limited now. I've already been booked up this week, and usually we only open them up so far in advance. So you can go ahead and grab one of the free coaching business breakthrough calls with us as well, to get total clarity in your business and see what those strategies would look like for you. And that's at ninjagrowthstrategies.com/growth. And once again, that's ninjagrowthstrategies.com/growth. And I know we're getting ready to make your, you're getting ready to present your web class and everything like that, Yolanda.
Yes.
But where right now is LinkedIn the best place for people to find you? And if you want to share your booking, so that way people, if they are other nonprofit CEOs and they're really wanting to land their first 6 and 7 figure guests and win bigger contracts and lead more efficiently and command that high compensation in their careers, where can we find you?
Yes, definitely. You can find me on LinkedIn at Dr. Yolanda Spiva. If you just do the search, it'll pull me up. Also, the connection for my calendar is Yolanda Spiva, SPIVA, setmore.com, SETMORE.com.
Wonderful. And now, Yolanda, I cannot believe that you have let me get away for so long. And I know that I've said your name and you have never once. I'm now finding out that it is Spiva. So I apologize about that.
Well, you know what it is. You know what it is, Myranda. We never say our full names. We're saying Yolanda and Myranda, so no worries.
Well, I do apologize, Dr. Spiva. It was my pleasure to work with you, and I am so blessed and honored to get to help experts like you be able to get your information and your gifts and your talents into the hands of the people and the nonprofits that really need it out there today. So wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. And if anybody wants to check out that web class again that we have for business coaches, that once again is at ninjagrowthstrategies.com. And if you'd like to speak with us about how we can help you grow your coaching business on LinkedIn using some of the automation tools that we use and savvy messaging and techniques that we do to help to speak to your ideal client, go ahead and book a call with us at ninjagrowthstrategies.com/growth. And we will talk soon. Have a great day. Thanks, Yolanda.
Thank you, Myranda.
Bye. Talk soon.
Are you still there?
Let's see.